कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we're discussing Dhruva Maharaj going back to Godhead. We have discussed till verse number
14.
14. Okay. Correct. Fifteenth shloka. I think this verse also we discussed. I think 15th also we discussed. Manyamana idam vishvam maya rachitamatmani avidya rachita swapna gandharva nagaropamam. Dhruva Maharaj realized that this cosmic manifestation bewilders living entities like a dream or phantasmagoria because it is a creation of the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord. We discussed this. We'll discuss 16th onwards. आत्मस्त्रयपत्य आत्मस्त्री अपत्य आत्मस्त्रयपत्य सुहृदो बलमृद्धकोश
Atma Striyapatya Shurudo Balamariddakosham
मन्तःपुरं परिविहार भुवश्चरम्याः
Antapuram Parivihara Bhuvascha Ramya
भूमण्डलं जलधि मेखलमाकलय्य
Bhumandalam Jaladi Mekalama Kalyaya
कालोपसृष्टमिति स प्रययौ विशालाम्
Kalo Pashristam Itisa Prayayo Vishalam. Translation. Thus, Dhruva Maharaj at the end left his kingdom, which extended all over the earth and was bounded by the great oceans. He considered his body, his wives, his children, his friends, his army, his rich treasury, his very comfortable palaces, and his many enjoyable pleasure grounds to be creations of the illusory energy. Thus, in due course of time, he retired to the forest in the Himalayas known as Badrikashrama. Badrikashrama.
बद्रिकाश्रम Atmastrayapatya suhrudo balam ruddakosha antapuram parivihara bhuvascharamyaha bhumandalam jaladi mekala kalopasrishtamiti sa prayayau vishalam. So I'll read the Anvaya of the shloka. So Atma refers to the body, Stri, the wives, Apatya, children, Suhruda, friends, Balam. Balam refers to his influence, Riddha Kosham, his wealth and treasury, Antapuram, Parivihara, Bhuvascharamyaha. Atma, Stri, Apatya, Suhrudaha, Balam, Riddhakosham, Antapuram, Parivihara Bhuvaha, pleasure grounds, Ramyaha, beautiful pleasure grounds, Jaladi Mekalam, Jaladi Mekalam Bhumandalam. Dhruva Maharaj was ruling the entire Bhumandala surrounded by the oceans. Jaladi Mekalam Bhumandalam cha Kala Upasrishtamiti. Kala Upasrishtamiti. Seeing the passage of time. Upasrishtam means created. Created. Kala Upasrishtamiti. Akalaya. Akalaya means considering. Saha Vishalam Prayayav. So Vishalam here it refers to Badrikashram. So Dhruva Maharaj that Kala Upasrishtam, that all these things related to the body, relatives, treasury, Kala Upasrishtam, they will all be destroyed in due course of time, considering that he went to Badrikashram. So we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many examples that many kings, when they want to retire from their kingdom, they would go towards the northern direction. Pandavas, when they retired, they went to the northern direction. If you had gone to Badrinath, you will find the Pandavas caves. The Pandavas from there, the place from there, from where Pandavas went to the Vaikuntha, that is there. Narada as a small child, after his mother died, it is described that he started traveling towards the northern direction. Tada tadaham ishasya bhaktanam sham abhipsatam anugraham manyamana pratishtam vishamuttahan. Considering that to be the mercy of the Lord, Narada, he went towards the northern direction. Dhritarashtra, when he retired, he went towards the northern direction. So the Himalayas, northern direction, that is considered to be the Tapo Bhumi. So Dhruva Maharaj also went to the Badrik Ashram. At least once in a life, one must go to Badrik Ashram. Later part of the life, when the age goes old, when you become old, it will become difficult to travel. Although nowadays, lot of transportation facilities are available, still it becomes difficult. There is a Alvar in the Sri Sampradaya, Tirumangai Alvar. He has written songs in glorification of the Badri Vishal. Around, I think, 10 plus songs. In every song, the theme of the song is that the first 2 or 3 lines, he will describe in minute detail the condition of old age, how the person will cough in the old age, how the person will walk in the old age, how the person will be neglected by others, how his hearing will go down, hearing. He will describe that all the symptoms of old age. And then he will say that, he will end the song by saying that before this stage comes, let us go to Badrinath and take darshan of Badri Vishal. Like that he would say. So when he was composing that song, that time all these facilities of road transport, all these things were not available. That time people would just go only by walking. So Badrinath, very serene place, very spiritual place. So Dhruva Maharaj went to the Badrik ashram. So Dhruva Maharaj saw that how the time will destroy everything, and he went to Badrik ashram. Would all be upasrishtam, means will be destroyed in due course of time. Kalena upasrishtam. Upasrishtam means anityam akalaya. Anityam, considering that in due course of time, they would be destroyed, they would become temporary. Considering that, akalaya means vichintya, thinking that. So it is important that people should, especially when a person grows old, one is supposed to become more and more reflective. One is supposed to become more and more introspective. In the young age, we are into a lot of external activities which is required. But when a person retires, one is supposed to become more and more introspective. In the Uddhava Gita also, Krishna, when he speaks about the main duties of a Vanaprastha ashram, one of the things he says is that to become introspective. So akalaya means introspecting or thinking about it. If you see Vishwanath Chakravarti's purport, Atma, the self is the body. Considering and contemplating that even the self and so on, being products of Maya, are again subject to time, Mayikam api, and are impermanent, anityam. He went to the Badrik ashram. So Prabhupada also highlights about the importance of retirement. So in the beginning of the life, Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest. So Dhruva Maharaj realized at that time itself, all the bodily conceptions of pleasure are products of the illusory energy. We saw in the Dhruva Maharaj's prayer in the 9th chapter, in one of the prayer, Dhruva Maharaj says that, Tena smarant yatitaram priyamisha martyam Yechan vadat sutasuhrud grihavitta dara Ye tvabjanab bhavadiya padaravinda saugandhya lubdha hridayeshu krita prasangaha. 4th canto, 9th chapter. In that prayer, Dhruva Maharaj says that Saugandha Lubdha Hridayeshu Krita Prasangaha. By getting association of a devotee who has smelled the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes detached from the different body and the things related to the body. That is what Dhruva Maharaj mentioned in his prayer. So Dhruva Maharaj realized it in the beginning. In the very beginning, of course, he was after the kingdom of his father, and in order to get it, he went to search for the Supreme Lord. But later, he realized that everything is the creation of the illusory energy. From the acts of Dhruva Maharaj, we can understand that somehow or other, if one becomes Krishna conscious, it does not matter what his motivation is in the beginning. He will eventually realize the real truth by the grace of the Lord. In the beginning, Dhruva Maharaj was interested in the kingdom of his father, but later he became a great devotee, Mahabhagavata, and had no interest in material enjoyment. The perfection of life can be achieved only by the devotees. Even if one completes only a minute percentage of devotional service and then falls down from his immature position, he is better than a person who fully engages in the fruitive activities. This is what Narada Muni told Vyasadeva, first canto, 5th chapter. Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajan apakvota pate tato yadi yatrakva vabhadram abhudamushya kim kovarta apto bhajatam swadharmatah. So even if a person if a person leaves his, suppose, swadharma and takes to devotional service, and he falls down from the path of devotional service also, still there is no loss. On the other hand, somebody else meticulously performs his swadharma but does not take to devotional service, then what is the use? That is what is explained here. Therefore, even if a person takes to devotional service with a material motivation, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi, tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param, one will gradually realize the truth by the grace of the Lord. Next shloka. Tasyam vishuddha karana shivavar vigahya
तस्यां विशुद्धकरणः शिववार्विगाह्य
badvasanam jitamarun manasa kritaksh
मध्वासनं जितमरुन् मनसार्ताक्ष
stule dadara bhagavat pratirupayetad
स्थूले ददार भगवत् प्रतिरूप एतत्
dhyayam stadavyavahito vyasrjat samadau.
ध्यायंस्तदौ व्यवहितो व्यसृज्य स्तमाधौ. In Badrikashram, Dhruva Maharaj's senses became completely purified because he bathed regularly in the crystal clear purified water. He fixed his sitting position and by yogic practice controlled the breathing process and the air of life. In this way, his senses were completely withdrawn. Then he concentrated his mind on the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord, which is the exact replica of the Lord, and thus meditating upon him entered into complete trance.
The situation in Badrikashram is described. In Badrikashram, Tasyam Vishuddha Karanaha, his senses became purified. Shiva Var Vigahya. Vaha refers to water. Shiva means auspicious water. Vigahya, bathing in the auspicious waters of Ganges, Alakananda. Shiva Var Vigahya. Badvasanam, Badva Asanam. He also practiced the Ashtanga Yoga. Jita Marun Manasa Kritaksha. He controlled his mind, he controlled the air within the body. Stule Dadara Bhagavat Pratirupa Yetat. Stule Bhagavat Pratirupe Yetat Dadara. He fixed his mind on the Supreme Lord. Avyavahita Samadau Tat Vyasrujat. Purifying his senses there, he bathed in the pure water, sat in the proper position, Badvasanam. Jita Marun controlled his breathing. Ahrita Akshaha, he withdrew the senses, Pratyahara, by the mind, Manasa. And Stule, Aksha Stule Dadara, he Bhagavat Pratirupe, he concentrated on the substitute form of the Lord, the universal form. Stule Bhagavat Pratirupe refers to the universal form. And then Dhyayan, continuously meditating on that form, he then gave up the universal form in Samadhi. Vyasrujat Samadhav. Usually, universal form meditation, beyond that, one will actually meditate on the personal form of the Lord. For a pure devotee, one does not need to meditate on the universal form of the Lord. For those people who cannot appreciate the transcendental form of the Lord, for them initially they are advised to meditate on the universal form of the Lord. And then when they become purified, they become qualified to meditate on the four-handed form of the Lord, two-handed form of the Lord. But here it is described that Dhruva Maharaj, although being a pure devotee, he meditated first on the universal form of the Lord. And then when he came to Samadhi, he gave up that meditation on the universal form. So why he meditated on the universal form? So in this shloka, how Dhruva Maharaj practiced the Ashtanga Yoga, it is described. In the Ashtanga Yoga, there is the element Dhyanam. Dhyanam, there a person meditates on the form of the Lord. The Dhyanam limb of Ashtanga Yoga is nothing but Bhakti Yoga. So in that context, the rules of bathing, etc. are stated. So we see to perform Ashtanga Yoga also, you have to practice, start from the Yama, Niyama, etc. You have to observe cleanliness, one has to observe Brahmacharya. Lifestyle is also there. So one should enter after plunging into the auspicious water. So he practiced different Yama, such as serenity. He practiced asana. He practiced pranayama. And then he placed his mind on the grass virata form. Bhagavatah pratinidhi bhute stule virad rupe yetan mano dadara. Meditating, being without any separation, devoid of the difference between meditator and the object of meditation, he stood in samadhi, and then after he came to samadhi, he relinquished meditating on the grass universal form. After that, what he did, that will be described in the next shloka. It will become more clear. So Prabhupada also says that this is a description of the Ashtanga Yoga system. He practiced it in a solitary place. He concentrated, Prabhupada says that he concentrated his mind on the Archa Vigraha, the worshipable deity of the Lord, which exactly represents the Supreme Lord, and thus thinking constantly of the deity, he became absorbed in trance. Worship of the Archa Vigraha is not idol worship. The Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Lord in a form appreciable by a devotee. Therefore, devotees engage in the temple in the service of the Lord as Archa Vigraha, a form made of the stula objects such as stone, metal, wood, jewels, or paint. All of these are called stula or physical representations. So Prabhupada is giving this explanation. Stule here refers to Archa Vigraha, which is made of the stone or metal or different painting, which are all stula elements. So Prabhupada says that Dhruva Maharaj meditated on the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord. Vishnu Chakotipad says that Dhruva Maharaj meditated on the universal form of the Lord. So the devotees follow the regulative principles of worship. Even though the Lord is there in his physical form, he is non-different from his original spiritual form. Thus the devotee gets the benefit of achieving the ultimate goal of life, that is always becoming absorbed in thought of the Lord. So, one more thing. I will go to the next shloka. Bhaktim harau bhagavati pravahanna jasra.
Bhaktim harau bhagavati pravahan ashashram.
Ananda bashpa kalaya muhurardhyamanaha.
Ananda baspakalaya muhur ardyamana.
Viklidyamana hridaya pulakachitango.
Viklidyamana udaya pulakachitango.
Natmanamasmara asmaradasaviti muktalingaha.
Natmanam asmarad asav iti muktalinga. Translation. Because of his transcendental bliss, incessant tears flowed from his eyes. His heart melted, and there was shivering and standing of the hairs all over his body. Thus transformed in a trance of devotional service, Dhruva Maharaj completely forgot his bodily existence, and thus he immediately became liberated from material bondage.
So Dhruva Maharaj, how he further advanced, let's explain here. Bhaktim harau bhagavati pravahan ajasram ananda bashpa kalaya muhurardhyamanaha. Constantly engaged in bhakti. Bhagavati Bhaktim, constantly engaged in bhakti to the Supreme Lord. He was constantly afflicted by the tears of bliss, Bashpa Kalaya, Ananda Bashpa Kalaya, and his heart melted. His heart melted. Pulaka Chitango, and his hairs stood on end. He could not remember his body since he was free from bodily identification. Atmanam asmaradasaviti muktalingaha. Atmanam asmarat asaviti muktalingaha. He completely became oblivious to the body. He could not remember any external things surrounding the body. Krishna Chakotipak's purport. Thus, constantly and eternally bearing intense devotion towards Hari, he does not consider himself to be ordinary because he is free from the associations and has abandoned identification with the body. The reasons are, he is overwhelmed by a stream of tears of joy. So he experienced the Ashta Sattvika Vikara. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes all these things. His heart melted, his body is covered with the goosebumps. Pulaka Chitango means different parts of the body, there were goosebumps. His heart melted and tears were started flowing. So he essentially experiences the symptoms of ecstasy. Generally, a great devotee will not exhibit the symptoms of ecstasy openly because the symptoms of ecstasy are not meant for public display. The symptoms of ecstasy are offerings of a devotee, are the private offerings of a pure devotee to Krishna. They are not. They will not be publicly displayed by a devotee. So Prabhupada says that these are all Ashta Sattvika Vikara. When a devotee completely forgets his bodily existence, he should be understood to be liberated. He is no longer engaged in the body. So, for example, when you have a dry coconut, is covered by a shell, and the coconut has lost its connection with the shell, and then when you shake that coconut, you can hear the sound the coconut is moving inside, because the coconut has disconnected itself from the shell. So that is the stage of a Jivan Mukta. He has actually transcended the bodily needs, bodily identification. So similarly, when one is fully absorbed in devotional service, is completely disconnected from the two material coverings, the subtle and the gross bodies. Dhruva Maharaj actually attained this stage of life by constantly discharging devotional service. He has already been described as a Mahabhagavata. For unless one becomes a Mahabhagavata or a first-class pure devotee, these symptoms are not visible. Lord Chaitanya exhibited all these symptoms. Thakur Haridas also exhibited them. And there are many pure devotees who manifested such bodily symptoms. They are not to be imitated. But when one is actually advanced, these symptoms are exhibited. At that time, it is to be understood that a devotee is materially free. Of course, from the very beginning of devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens. When a person takes to devotional service, the path of liberation is opened. But it takes some time for a person to completely go beyond the bodily concept. It takes some time, means it may be some years, it can be few lifetimes also. No. Just like just as the coconut taken from the tree immediately begins to dry, but it takes some time for the shell and pulp to separate from one another. Immediately it doesn't get separated. It takes some time. Similarly, after taking to devotional service, it takes some time to come to that stage, Brahma Bhuta. It takes some time for a person to go beyond the bodily concept. So, Mukta Linga means liberated. Linga refers to subtle body. When a man dies, he could the gross body, but the subtle body of mind, intelligence, and ego carries him to a new body. While existing in the present body, the same subtle body carries him from one stage of life to another. For example, from childhood to boyhood by mental development. The mental condition of a baby is different from that of a boy. The mental condition of a boy is different from that of a young man. So at the time of the death, the process of changing bodies takes place due to the subtle body. The mind, intelligence, and ego carry the soul from one gross body to another gross body. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam teyatyante kalevaram tam tam yevaiti kaunteye sada tadbhava bhavitah. The transmigration of the soul. But when a person becomes liberated, one not only leaves the gross body, one also leaves one subtle body. That is what liberation means. When a person becomes liberated, one gets liberated even from the subtle body. At that time, the living entity is completed and fully prepared to be transferred to the transcendental or spiritual world. The description of the bodily symptoms of Dhruva Maharaj makes it apparent that he became perfectly fit to be transferred to the spiritual world. One can experience a distinction between the subtle and gross bodies even daily. In a dream, one's gross body is lying on the bed, while the subtle body carries the soul, the living entity, to another atmosphere. But because the gross body has to be continued, the subtle body comes back and settles in the present gross body. Therefore, one has to become free from the subtle body also. This freedom is known as the Mukta Linga. So at that time, Dhruva Maharaj, in order to take Dhruva Maharaj back to Vaikuntha, the Vishnu dhutas appear with the Vaikuntha Vimana. So that description starts here. Sadadarsha Vimanagryam
तदर्दश विमानाग्र्यम्
Nabaso Vataradhruvaha
नभसो व्रतवद्ध्रुवः
Vibrajayadrisha
विभ्राजयदिशदिशो
Raka Patimivodhitam.
राकापतिमिवोदितम्. As soon as the symptoms of his liberation were manifest, he saw a very beautiful airplane coming down from the sky, as if the brilliant full moon were coming down, illuminating all 10 directions.
Vimana Agryam. Vimana Agryam, very beautiful Vimana, or foremost among the planes. That also we can say. Nabasaha Avatarat, descended from the sky. Dhruva Maharaj saw that. The Saha Dadarsha. Vibrajayat Drisha Disho. The Vimana itself was illuminating all the directions. And then there is an analogy given. Raka patim ivoditam. Raka patim iva. Like a full moon. As if the brilliant full moon were coming down, illuminating all the 10 directions. So there are different levels of acquired knowledge. Direct knowledge. That is Pratyaksha Pramana. Knowledge received from authorities. It could be certain authorities in this world, one receives certain knowledge. Transcendental knowledge. And knowledge beyond the senses. And finally, spiritual knowledge. I don't know from where Prabhupada is quoting, we have to check the purport, the Sanskrit purports. What is the difference between transcendental knowledge and spiritual knowledge? So when one surpasses the stage of acquiring knowledge by the descending process, he is immediately situated on the transcendental platform. Dhruva Maharaj, being liberated from the material concept of life, was situated in the transcendental knowledge and could perceive the presence of a transcendental airplane, which was as brilliant as the full moonlight. This is not possible in the stages of direct or indirect perception of knowledge. Such knowledge is a special favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can, however, rise to this platform of knowledge by the gradual process of advancing in devotional service or Krishna consciousness. I'll read Vishnu Chakotaku's purport. Saha Nabasaha Avatarat Uditam Rakapatimiva Dashadishaha Vibrajayat Vimana Agriyam Dadarsha Dhruvaha Dadarsha. So, yeah, Vishnu Chakotak has not given the purport. So then Dhruva Maharaj saw the Vishnu dhutas. The description of the Vishnu dhutas are given here. Tatranudeva pravarau chaturbhujau
Tatranudeva pravarau chaturbhujau
Shyamau kishoravarunambujekshanau
Shyamau Kishorao Arunambuje Shanau
Titavavashtabhya gadam suvasasau
Stitavavastabhya Gadam Suvasaso
Kiritaharangadacharu kundalau.
Kiritaharangadacharu Kundalau. Translation. Dhruva Maharaj saw two very beautiful associates of Lord Vishnu in the plain. They had 4 hands and a blackish bodily luster. They were very youthful and their eyes were just like reddish lotus flowers. They held clubs in their hands and they were dressed in very attractive garments with helmets and were decorated with necklaces, bracelets and earrings.
So there were two beautiful associates of the Lord. Tatra anu deva pravarau. Deva pravarau is used in the Dvivachana. So therefore, two people were there. Chaturbhujau. They had 4 hands because in Vaikuntha, the Lord shares his opulences with his associates. They also had 4 hands. Shyamau. They had a blackish complexion like Lord Narayana. Kishora. They were young. And Aruna Ambujekshanau. Ambujekshanau means they had lotus eyes. Aruna, they had reddish lotus eyes. Sthita Avashtabhya. Gadam Suvasaso. They were holding Gada in their hands and they were nicely clothed. Suvasaso. Kirita Harangada Charu Kundalau. They had a helmet, earrings, nice garland was there. So all these things are described. And so Prabhupada says that, Prabhupada says that the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha, they have the same bodily feature as the Supreme Lord. So the two uncommon personalities who descended from the airplane came directly from Vishnu Loka, at the planet where Lord Vishnu lives. Vijnaya Tavutta Magaya Kinkara Abhyuttita Sadvasa Vismruta Kramaha Nanama Namani Grinan Madudvishaha Parshat Pradana Viti Samhatanjalihi. Viti Samhatanjalihi. Vijnaya Tavutta Magaya Kinkara Abhyutita Sadvasa Vismruta Kramaha Nanama Namani Grinan Madudvisha Parshat Pradana Viti Samhatanjali. So Vijnaya, after understanding Tau, seeing these uncommon personalities, Uttama Gaya Kinkarau. Uttama Gaya, it is similar to Uttama Shloka. Uttama Gaya is the name of Lord Vishnu. One who of excellent renown, a person who has excellent fame. Uttama Shloka means one who is glorified by the choicest poetry. Uttama Gaya Kinkarau. Understanding these two personalities, Vijnaya, that these two are the servants of Lord Vishnu. Abhyuttita, Dhruva Maharaj immediately got up to show respect to them. So normally, when a guest comes in the Vedic culture, there is a standard way of receiving the guests. We offer them asana, we offer them padya, argya, madhuparka. Because there is a standard procedure is there. But Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw these Vishnu dhutas, on his excitement, he became puzzled. Sadvasa. Therefore, Vismruta Kramaha, he forgot the normal procedure for welcoming the guest. What he did then? Nanama, he offered obeisances. And he simply started chanting the holy names of the Lord. Namani Grinan Madudvishaha. He started chanting the holy names of the Lord. Parshat Pradhanau iti Samhata Anjalihi. With the folded hands. He offered obeisances, he respected them and chanted the holy names. So sometimes when you are unable to do the normal, some standard procedures of certain activity, sometimes during deity worship also sometimes you have forgotten the certain mantras. One can just chant the holy names of the Lord. While offering bhoga, sometimes when I forgot the certain mantras, you can chant the holy names. So Dhruva Maharaj, because of hastiness, because of becoming puzzled, he forgot how to receive them. The chanting of the holy names is the perfect in every way. When Dhruva Maharaj saw the Vishnu dhutas, he could understand who they were. But for the time being, he was puzzled. So, but by simply chanting the holy names, he could satisfy the uncommon guests who had come before him all of a sudden. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord is perfect, even though one does not know how to please Lord Vishnu or his associates. Simply by sincerely chanting the holy name, everything becomes perfect. A devotee, therefore, either in danger or in happiness, constantly chants the Hare Krishna mantra. When he is in danger, he is immediately relieved. And when he is in a position to see Lord Vishnu or his associates directly by chanting this Maha Mantra, he can please the Lord. This is the absolute nature of the Maha Mantra. Either in danger or in happiness, it can be chanted without limitation. So, then after that, how Dhruva Maharaj was taken by the Vishnu dhutas to the Vaikuntha, we will see in the next class. But this is a very interesting section. Dhruva Maharaj going back to God. Hare Krishna. Ajay Shamukhan Dhruva is asked. The English translation of the song is available, then please send. I'll check.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Very good.
Dandavad Pranam. Prabhuji, this last part where Dhruva Maharaj just started singing the holy name. So there, I just remembered two sections from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I just want to share that when Bali Maharaj, after Lord sent him to the Sutal Lok, then Bali Maharaj asked Shukracharya that where was he wrong, and there the holy name is glorified. That if one chants the holy name, all places and everything becomes purified. And the same in the Daksha Yagya also. After the Yagya was fully abrupt and all the bad things were there, there also the holy name was glorified. That wherever the holy name is chanted, everything becomes purified. Okay. So I remember these two things.
Yes. Mantratas tantratas chitram desha kalarga vastunah sarvam karoti nishchidram anusankirtanam tava. Shukracharya himself says that all the mistakes which are committed while chanting the Vedic mantras or following, or the mistakes while observing the Vedic sacrifices, all those mistakes get nullified by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Therefore, any religious activity, Graha Pravesha, anything, any activity, we should have one of the prominent part is the Harinam Sankirtan. That should be there, or Srimad Bhagavatam.
And Prabhuji, the next question comes in mind is that Dhruva Maharaj has attained the love of Godhead, the prema. So then why was he doing that, the pranayam and difficult austerities in Badrikashram?
See, it's not that he was practicing mixed bhakti, but as part of the austerities of the Vanaprastha at that time, it was a procedure to observe those Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, etc. Certain things which are helpful to intensify one's bhakti, that can be accepted. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjana. So those aspects of Ashtanga Yoga which are helpful, Dhruva Maharaj accepted. It's not that he practiced some Yoga Mishra Bhakti. He practiced pure Bhakti only. But he accepted whatever is favorable.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Like devotees may do some yoga asana, they may go for walking. I think what they need actually. That is in the sense for maintaining good health. The body is used in Krishna's service. That sense.
Yes, Prabhu. Sometimes we also do that in the morning to go in some garden to walk and all that. It helps
Yes.
the mind relax. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।